Hello, America. It is Whitley, the reporter, and I am so excited because today I get to sit down, because sometimes I get tired. I get to sit down with two amazing individuals, and we are talking about marriage, baby. What does it look like to be married? And not just to be married as an individual, living in this world, doing their thing, but what does it mean to be a Christian and being married? And so I am sitting down with, this is my left, on my left, I have BJ Sims. Say hello.
Hey, how's it going, America?
And then on my right, I have my friend, Maisha Garrett.
Hello.
And so they have agreed to sit down and tell me all of their business. So I am so excited that I get to ask them the Q&A that people want to know. Some of you have sent me questions. If I don't cover it, it's okay. We're going to keep this topic rolling because I know that all y'all are nosy and you want to know, especially those that are single, how can I get married? Like, what are the things that I should avoid, not avoid? And it's so funny because recently my church and my pastors did a phenomenal job. Shout out to Pastor Sherman and Jaquette Dumas, but they did an amazing job and they did a series and it was all about love, sex, and relationships. And so I realized that people really want to know about it. But then there's some nitty gritty stuff and some things that they covered, we'll probably cover here. But some of the things that I realized is that people, especially, and no offense, but to my ladies, we want a good man. We want to get married. We want to settle down. There's this dream, this fairy tale, right? Of like, what is it going to be like to be married and, to have my king, or maybe some dudes. I'm not even taking you guys out of the picture. You may be looking for your queen. You know what I'm saying? Your light skin, long hair, blonde in the front. No, I'm just playing. But, but seriously, you might be looking for the one. And so I wanted to ask two people who have been married, what does that look like? So I'm just going to kind of go in and get in their business. And I know you guys have some things that you want to ask, but I'll ask for you. And so I want to start over here to my right. Ladies first, if you don't mind. So talk to me, as being a married woman in your relationship, how long have you guys been married?
1 year and 3 months.
Oh, shoot. Oh, hi. It's your anniversary. Hey. No, I'm just playing. But on a serious note, as far as marriage is concerned, what advice would you give women stepping into marriage after being in, especially like relationships, like all those off and ons? What does it look like for you, or what did it look like stepping into a serious, committed relationship where it was like till death do us part? What did that look like for you?
For me, it was really easy because I hadn't been in many relationships. But for me, I really had to, one, take time and get closer to God just to understand who I was as a person. That way, once I actually got married, it was easier because he too was in God. So it was just a way of God bringing two of us together. So it was fairly easy for me just because I had spent a period of 6 months getting more intimate with God.
Talk to me. I need to talk to you about submission. Okay. So when you stepped into the relationship with your wife, was it like, listen, I'm the man. All right. My name is BJ and I'm going to tell you what's going on, or what does submission really look like in your household?
What can I grab the mic? Okay. So, submission to me, well, I did go just like that. Exact words. I was like, listen, I make the decisions. I'll run this. You got to listen. And it was an epic fail. And I tell everybody, like, as far as that first year of marriage, for me, and everyone calls it the honeymoon stages, but that was by far the worst year of my life. The first year of marriage was, and she'll tell you too, well, look, we almost didn't make it that first year because I think it was good for like the first month. And then after that, I went into with that mindset of, well, I got to get my household in order. I got to run this. I got to do this. And it led to her rejecting me because she wasn't used to something wrong with women, because this is a new age woman. This is not the woman that wear, a little skirt to clean up and, cook meals, y'all like to work. Y'all like to have jobs. Y'all got dreams, ambitions. So if you come to a Southern man as myself, and, I say, well, look, you need to stay at home, wash these dishes. I didn't say that, of course. That's kind of sexist. I didn't say that. But, in that aspect, saying that, no, you need to listen to what I say, it'll never work. And that's the mindset that I went into it with, because sometimes, when you're talking to older men, they'll tell you, well, this is how I did it. This is how you got to do it. This is how we do it as men. And you'll end up failing because every marriage is different, The biggest thing that we have to understand about marriage is, to a man, is that's your first ministry, Because every man is called to be a priest of his household. So as far as adding God to it, if you're not, and this is going to be a statement that probably count a lot of men out of this. So when you're talking about leadership and you're talking about ministry, the truth is that most men that aren't ready for marriage, they're not ready for leadership. They don't know how to lead. So they're still followers, so they can't run their household because they haven't learned how to be leaders. If you can't lead your own life, how you expect to lead your household?
Wow. I hope, sir, that's watching, ma'am, pick your job, because he said it. He went there. So, okay. So my next question for you is, for you, and I'm not putting you in a category, but I am, so don't judge me, okay? I don't know what your past was like. It's so funny because we ended up here. We are actually on the campus of Cal State San Bernardino. I used to run up in these apartments. Unfortunately, before you see the reporter now, you see the saved woman of God. But I was actually in a relationship, and so I was up here all the time. That was my boo. We were, and so I made sure when I was dating. Well, maybe I didn't always. You could ask him, but sometimes, I would make sure looking nice and being ready because I wanted to present something. So how for you as men, I know you guys have and I'll just say appetite, and you want your woman to look right. Okay. And so how do you balance, especially, I don't know what your relationship with women was like before, but staying committed to one woman, what does that look like being married and just being in one relationship, one woman, if she not having good days or, it's wash your weave Wednesday or whatever, what does that look like for you?
Well, I'll just go on the record and say that, yes, I was a hoe. I mean, I did what I did, especially being in the music industry. That's what I was in back then. So, I mean, the rumors are true. You in the studio, you in the club all night. I was drunk every night. So what's the product of that? Different women every night. And I actually met my wife at a club, so I met her at a party. So I was drunk when I met her. I actually learned how to swim that day too, but that's a different story. But I'll tell you how it went. But with that being said is, yes, we do have appetites. But the only way for a man to stay faithful in a relationship is basically to love something more than he loved his wife, and that's to love God. See, we have this understanding because I tell everybody that love it's deeper than an emotion. It's a choice, So I can say I love you and I feel affection for you, but once the feeling is gone, which it will fade, it'll be days where you hate each other, but you still have to honor that choice that you made to God. So that's why I find it hard to be in relationships outside of God, because you can rely on morals, but sometimes morals change depending on your environment. So if you don't have a relationship stronger with God than you have with your wife, you're going to cheat because the appetite is there. Humans are drove by different appetites, different things that we like. You might have an appetite for shopping. You might have an appetite for kissing or intimacy or sex. But what if one day your wife doesn't feel like having sex? What if for a month she doesn't feel like? What if she can't have sex for 6 months? Then what?
Amen. I don't know. But what I do know is that women seem to idolize marriage, and they look at it like, when I'm married, my life is going to change. It's going to be so much better. So I don't know if that was your situation to where maybe you felt like, oh, God put this together. And if so, if you stepped into that, how did it change maybe when you got into the relationship and maybe when you felt like, okay, hey, we got to change some things here or whatever, so that your marriage could really be a marriage when it was supposed to be a marriage and not when you were dating?
Well, yeah, that was our situation, our story. I was like, come over. Here's your drawers. Here's your living room. Here's your chair. This is your area. I'm washing your clothes. I'm cooking your meals. I'm sending you off to work with your lunch. Have a good day. See you in a little while. And it wasn't until a women's conference where I was actually challenged to spend 6 months alone and with God to get more intimate with him that I realized, wait a minute, what does he have to look forward to if I'm actually doing it all now? And why is it that we both understand that I'm the one, but I'm still single. I'm not engaged. And so I did the 6 months spending time with God and getting closer with God. And after that is when he actually decided, or actually at the beginning of that, if he tells his story, he decided that he was going to propose to me after. So maybe 3 months after I finished my obligation to get closer to God, he actually proposed to me. But I completely had to turn off all of my wifely duties and realize, no, you're just a girlfriend.
That's so good. That is so good. That was so me. I mean, I have Okay, so moving on, I have a question for you, BJ. Okay, what made you marry your beautiful wife? He has a beautiful wife, by the way. She's absolutely fabulous, and she is like her own person. She's not all up under you, you know what I'm saying? And not anything wrong with that, but I love that she has her own identity and everything like that. But what made you choose her, especially if you was hoeing, if you was dipping and slipping? When did you say, you know what, I need to stop?
So I think I met my wife in August, right? So I'll tell y'all a quick story because it's really a testimony itself, but I'm not going to give y'all the whole thing. So I met my wife in August. She was dating someone else, you know, and she kind of didn't want to give me her number, but I was that type of, you're going to give me your number. I don't care what you say. You're going to give me your number. So I got her number. Long story short, so I lost the number. I lost the phone because I had a fake phone because I had an iPhone that I got numbers in, but it wasn't turned on. So I lost that phone because it wasn't I was broke. Come on, I was posing. I was trying to live something that I wasn't doing. So listen. So I got her number in that phone and I lost it. And I'm like, man, I lost the number. So my homeboy was like, man, I got this girl number at the party the other day. And I was like, who, man? I was there. And he was like, her name Bree. And I said, Bree? I said, I think I got her number too. I was like, no, bro, you did not get her number. I put it in your phone. And he was like, oh, for real? I thought this was the girl number, but we was drunk, so we didn't get it. So long story short, got her number. We started talking and we did the same thing. I was like, man, this must have been divine. You know, God had to place us in each other's lives, you know, but we were still heathens. We was church heathens though, you know. We went to church, but we were still doing what we wanted to do. So 6 months later, fast forward, we get married, right? But right before that, the night we got married, it was after Bible study. The apostle we was going to church with, you know, he said, well, I can't have you playing drums and you praise dancing and y'all up here shacking in my church. So me and Bree talked to him. We was like, well, do we want to get married? And we was like, well, yeah, we do one day, you know. So we went to church that Wednesday for Bible study, and the apostle was like, y'all ready to get married? And we was like, why not? And we got married. So it wasn't any thinking behind it. It wasn't a thought process or I'm ready to do this. It kind of was just like, why not, you know? But I'm glad I made the decision though, because we got a long history as far as a good story to tell, but I honestly know that we love each other more than any other relationship that I knew, you know, but we went through a lot to get to this point, you know. So to everybody that think that you have to prepare yourself for it and it's just gonna happen after a long, it didn't happen like that for me, and I'm sorry, there's no deep answer. It's just I knew and it happened. 6 months of knowing each other from I didn't even know she existed, you know. She was in Atlanta for business and I was at the right party at the right time, you know. And to answer you guys' question, I wanted to say that because you was like, well, what happens when you do feel like you're a wife and you feel like, you know, I found my one? The truth is you could have found your one, but the timing could have been off, you know, because sometimes we could find the person that we're supposed to be with, but we miss out because we're not ready or they're not ready. So timing could have just been off, you know, not saying that you're going to get that opportunity again, but that's what, just saying that maybe you wasn't prepared for, or maybe they wasn't prepared for it.
I love that. I can speak to that maybe too many times. I don't know what that means for me, but all right, so this was the married segment of our Christian dating. I guess I need to just preface that again. I'm saying this for real. I feel it in my heart that we're going to do a part 2. So this was just the beginning, and we'll keep this conversation going, whether we do, however we do it. But I just want you guys to know out there, all of you that want to be married. I'm a single lady myself, so I know it's possible. But I also know that there are people around me that are doing it and that are showing me the real, and that are showing me that it's beautiful, it's amazing, but it's hard work, and it's something that I'm noticing that is the most successful when you are committed to God. So even for those out there that are saying, Whitley, I'm not a Christian, I'm not a believer, is there hope and is there faith for me? Of course. But I'm saying to you that if you want to have a marriage that is fulfilling, that will, I guess, fill the identity in you and make you feel like, okay, God, I understand who I am, so therefore I can be that for a person and more, then I would say connect to the source, baby, connect to God. And so I love you guys, and I thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Maisha, and thank you, BJ. And I'll be talking with you guys soon.